من وطن الكرامة.
Hello, welcome to Watan Al Karama News Channel. It is 9 p.m. our time for top stories, and we start the latest developments in Libya. Parliament postponed today's session about the latest developments of the dialogue. The session was due to be attended by the United Nations envoy to Libya, Martin Kobler, in Tobruk in order to hold consultative meetings with Parliament members. Reporter of Watan Al Karama Channel, Salah Tarhouni, noted that a meeting was postponed and Parliament attributed the cancellation of the meeting to the lack of quorum of Parliament members. He added that only less than 30 Parliament members attended. Moreover, the sources at Parliament confirmed that UN envoy to Libya Martin Kobler indefinitely postponed his visit to Tobruk. Following the cancellation of Parliament sessions this morning, Parliament Speaker Aguila Sareh Gueder stressed in a statement to Watan Al Karama News Channel that he held efforts exerted by Parliament member Ibrahim Amish in the meetings of Tunisia, saying that the approval depends on a vote by the Parliament. Gueder noted that he has no problem with meeting any member of the outgoing Congress if the goal is to help country to overcome its current crisis. In the meantime, Gueder noted that its previous meetings with leaders of Benghazi district was to find out the difficulties they face and help them in cleansing the city from remnants of terrorist militia. Moreover, Gueder also held the appointment of Brigadier Abdessalam Al-Hasi as a commander of Al Karama Dignity Operations, replacing Major Ali Thimen. Second Deputy of Parliament Speaker Ahmed Houma called on African countries to build bridges of trust and cooperation with Libya to be able to participate in realizing security and stability in the African continent. Houma stressed during his participation in the work of the 67th round for heads of the Union of African Parliaments the strength of historical relations between the Libyan people and peoples of the African continent. He also called for the honest pause to support the legitimacy of Parliament, noting that this can't be considered as confirmation of democracy in the face of external and internal conspiracies from whom Libya suffers. Heads of African National Society authorized a proposal for peace and national reconciliation in Libya in the final statement of the 67th session for heads of the Union of African Parliament held in Guinea-Bissau. The statement condemned the terrorist attacks on residential neighborhoods and defenseless civilians in Libya, calling for enhancing cooperation between states further action to combat this crisis. Moreover, the statement called on security authorities in Africa to develop a strategy for exchanging the information and experiences between the countries in order to prevent terrorist attacks in the continent. Russian news agency Sputnik said that Deputy Prime Minister Abdurrahman Al-Harish noted that a delegation from the interim government will visit Russia soon. Al-Harish added that the Libyan delegation hoped to get offers from Russian side to serve the Libyan people. Moreover, Al-Harish expressed his hope that this visit will be more effective in strengthening the bilateral relations and there will be some kind of fruitful cooperation between the Russian and Libyan sides. And still in Libya, and now about Air Force operations. Air Force launched a new military air operations under the name of Major Colonel Ali Al-Thimen to target strongholds and positions of terrorist groups in Benghazi and Ijdabiya. Official spokesman for Air Force Nasser Al-Hasi stressed that the Air Force launched several reconnaissance and offensive operations in several districts in Benghazi and Ijdabiya. Al-Hasi noted that the Air Force targeted the command and control headquarters of the extremist Daesh group in the west of Benghazi, pointing out that the operation was named as Major Ali Thimen Operation and was launched after his martyrdom. And to Al-Khoms city, a security source in Al-Khoms reported outbreak of fire in the third fuel tank out of 4 of the 5 tanks in the compound for the production of electrical powers. The source added that fire trucks tried to extinguish and control the fire, noting that a number of fire engines arrived from Misrata, Mislata and Zlatan. The source further said that there were armed skirmishes around the compound. The source added that clashes have killed and wounded dozens. And now my audience will transfer to the Arab arena told by Yemen. The United Nations said today that Yemen's warring parties are expected to observe a ceasefire and start US-sponsored peace talks in Switzerland from December 15 in a bid to end month of fighting that have killed nearly 6,000 people. Ismail Sheikh Ahmed, UN Special Envoy to Yemen, said that the Yemen government of President Abu Mansur Hadi and Houthis were committed to the peace process laid down by the Security Council last April. Resolution 2216 called on all sides to end the violence and avoid unilateral actions that jeopardize political transition. It demanded that the Houthis withdraw from all areas seized since the conflict began in September last year. Previous UN-mediated negotiations to end the conflict through dialogue failed as battles raged across the country and Saudi-led warplanes bombed positions of Houthi groups and its Yemeni army allies. And now to talks between Pakistan and Afghanistan. Afghan President Ashraf Ghani confirmed today that he will travel to Pakistan for a regional conference on Afghanistan in a sign of fresh efforts to reduce tension between the two neighboring countries. The Heart of Asia conference in Islamabad, previously held in Turkey, Kazakhstan and China, is seen as a chance to lay the basis for resumption of an Afghan peace process broken off in July, although Afghan officials caution the obstacles remain. This is not Pakistan's conference, this is Afghanistan conference. Ghani, who had not previously confirmed his attendance, told reporters at a news conference in Kabul. Afghanistan has long harbored a deep suspicion of Pakistan, accusing it of sponsoring Taliban insurgency in what Ghani has referred to as a 14-year-long undeclared war between the two countries. Under pressure, Ghani has stirred up efforts to improve relations, although they received a setback when peace talks with Taliban, facilitated by Pakistan, broke down in July. The United Nations launched a record humanitarian appeal today, asking for $20.1 billion to help 87 million people in 37 national and regional crises in 2016. The overall picture is bleak. Human suffering has reached a level not seen since the Second World War. More than 125 million people will need humanitarian assistance to survive in 2016. Of course, we target the most vulnerable in 87.6 million people. We appeal with our partners for $20.1 billion to do so. This amount is 5 times the level of funding we needed a decade ago, and it's the largest appeal we have ever launched, UN Humanitarian Chief Stephen de Brian told a news conference in Geneva. He added that the number of suffering are still growing quicker than the source resources to fight them, and they were for new facing a record funding gap of $10.2 billion for the end of the year. UN Refugee Chief Antonio Guterres added that the situation was deteriorating for Syrian refugees in neighboring countries and in Syria, with more than 93% living below the poverty line in Lebanon. And now to the nuclear crisis in Iran. Russia's envoy to the UN Nuclear Agency said today that he expected a nuclear deal between Iran and world powers to be implemented in January, leading to sanctions being lifted on Tehran. Under the deal, Iran must scale back its nuclear program, including a stockpile of low-enriched uranium, which it plans to do via a swap for non-enriched forms of uranium with Russia. The swap will be done before the end of the year, the Russian envoy to the International Atomic Energy Agency IAEA in Vienna, Vladimir Voronov, told reporters in Vienna. Iran has made in preconditions for fulfilling all its promises under the July agreement that a board of governors of the IAEA formally closed an inquiry into Iran's nuclear past with a resolution on December 15. Iran's top nuclear negotiation, Abbas Araghchi, told Reuters after the meetings he was satisfied with the draft resolutions and expected it to be adopted next week. He declined to divulge further details on the document. My audience, that is a wrap-up of our top stories for today. For much more, you can check our website www.watanelkarama.tv. Thanks very much for being with us. My greeting, Rانيا البليدى.